Walk in with the mindset, I already have the job, this is for me, I'm gonna work here, even if you're not sure that you're gonna work there. Only way to really succeed at an interview is to come in with the intention and the mindset that during this time, I get to connect with some new people that could be great contacts for me. Welcome to the She Speaks to Inspire podcast. I'm your host, Julia Kraft, your authentic expression mentor and public speaking coach. She Speaks to Inspire is an empowering public speaking podcast for women with public speaking fear. Unlike other podcasts on public speaking, She Speaks to Inspire not only gives you tips to be a confident communicator under pressure, but also helps you regulate your nervous system for less anxiety, learn lifestyle practices to reduce burnout and overwhelm, and reconnect with your feminine leadership presence for more authenticity and comfort in your skin. I believe it's the quiet ones, especially the quiet women, who have the most important ideas. I believe the world really does need your voice. So let's dive in. Today we're talking about a very common spotlight moment that I could go as far as saying every single person has experienced at least once in their life, and that's job interviews. Talk about an anxiety-provoking spotlight moment. When you're looking for a new job, hoping for a new job, needing a new job, it's a really vulnerable time of your life. There can be desperation, there can be very real need for income, and then therefore time pressure around making sure that you have a job and income. And all of that brings up fear and anxiety. It's just human, right? On top of that, you know that you're being judged. That's the whole purpose of the interview, to judge you based on how you show up and for them to assess if you have what it takes to do this job, if you're worth it, if you have the value. I can't sugarcoat it because they are judging you. And then on top of that, you have to talk about yourself. To talk about yourself, to brag a little bit, toot your own horn, talk about your accomplishments, your strengths, and a lot of times you have to talk about your weaknesses or your challenges. There can be a feeling of competition. How can I be better than others? How can I win over others for this job? And therefore, there's a mindset of comparisonitis. Well, this candidate has these degrees and this experience, but I don't. We can get all up in our heads about every little detail. And of course, in an interview situation, as much as you might be able to prepare by looking at some normal, familiar interview questions, you can find a list on the internet. Ultimately, it's an improvisational situation where you have to speak impromptu. You don't know what they're going to ask. You can't script out what you're going to say. And you need to be able to respond in the moment. That's part of what they're looking for in an interview, right? For you to be able to just speak as the expert, experienced person that you are and get a sense of who you are as a person. There's a lot of unknowns, so many things out of your control. That's one of the main reasons why it is such an anxiety-provoking situation. And if you already have some speaking fears and anxieties that you've been experiencing in past jobs, they can be really highlighted in the situation of job interviews. As women, a lot of us, this is cultural conditioning, have been conditioned to support, not stand out. Perhaps you've been trained to be a doer and get stuff done as opposed to be a leader and a visionary. Even if you're applying for a doer kind of job, even if in an interview situation, your confidence and ability to take charge and talk about yourself, to be direct, concise, and have an understanding enough of the big picture of what the company needs to be able to understand how you would fit into it with your job. Let's go over some simple solutions that could help you to feel better in your job interviews and, of course, to perform better in your job interviews. I can't guarantee anything, but hopefully it'll help you get more jobs or get you the job that you really want. The number one most important thing is to remember that it's not only them interviewing you. You are also interviewing them. The HR person, the CEO, whoever you're talking to about that job, to be honest, they should feel scrutinized as well because you're assessing them just as much as they should be assessing you. Do I like these people? Do I get a sense that this company culture would be a fit for me? Am I happy with this compensation package? Does the location of the company work for me and my lifestyle? Is it worth it to go out of my way for this work? I bring all this to the table. What are they bringing? You are interviewing them as well. If you have this mindset, you can enter the conversation more on equal ground. A lot of times that will help desperation, need, and anxiety soften, and you can start to see really what's in front of you and if it's even for you or not. Another mindset shift is to realize that this interview is not a task to get done. It's not something to do well. It's not something you can do right. An interview is a communication moment. And communication moments are essentially all a gray zone in that they're not black and white, can't do it right or wrong. It's not good or bad. It's an experience. It's a moment, an experience that will never happen like that ever again. It's incredibly unique and dynamic, which is the reality of being alive as a human, right? It's the only way to really succeed in an interview is to come in with the intention and the mindset that during this time, I get to connect with some new people that could be great contacts for me, great connections for me. Get curious, interested in these people, interested in this company. If nothing else, create a new friend or networking buddy, if nothing else. Another mindset shift that can support you is having the lens of thankfulness, or you could say gratitude, but gratitude I feel like is super wooey. So just thankfulness, like I'm thankful for the opportunity to get to know you. I'm thankful that you see value in what I've done, because every conversation is a stepping stone to where you want to be. Absolutely. In sales, we always say that for every no, you're getting closer to a yes. And the last mindset shift that could be helpful to you is to act as if you already have the job. So walk in with the mindset, I already have the job. This is for me. I'm going to work here. Even if you're not sure that you're going to work there, just walking in like, I already have the job. I already have a job. And that will help to, again, reduce the desperation and the need and the pressure and help you to be really present and just connect with these people. It'll also impact on a physiological level what hormones are released during the interview process. And Amy Cuddy did a TED Talk all about this. Perhaps you know her TED Talk about power poses, and a lot of her studies were about mastering job interviews, increasing confidence in job interviews, and ultimately getting the job more often. So check out Amy Cuddy's TED Talk. Really quickly, her hypothesis is that if you put your body, into a position, it will create an inner chemical cocktail of hormones that give you an emotional experience. And then, of course, when we interact with people in a certain state, they are influenced by that. For example, the power pose. So we all put up our arms over our head, stand wide with our feet apart, lift our chest, lift our chin, take a deep breath. This is the Superman pose or Superwoman pose. And it puts you into the attitude and energy of confidence, of power, of belief in yourself. Her suggestion is to do that for about 2 minutes before you go into an important performance moment and see if it changes how you feel about yourself, about the situation. I would go a little further that what if you could have that power pose energy while you're in the interview? You know, lifting your spine, lifting your chest, lifting your chin slightly, and that pride of who you are and what you bring. How would that impact the interviewer? Seeing you, hearing you. I suspect the impression of you would be completely different if you do that or not do that, right? I go much further with these tips and tools around reducing nerves and increasing confidence in my free training on my website. So go to speaktoinspire.com, register for the free training and learn more. But this is a great beginning, right? That you're aware of your physiology, what's happening with my body. Am I slouching? Am I tight? Or am I energized and open? And how it's impacting not only your inner experience as well as the perception people have of you from the outside. Interviews are largely about first impressions, and that's part of the reason why power posing or being aware of your physiology can make a really big difference on the success of interviews. I hope these mindset shifts and physiological tips are helpful as you navigate the very vulnerable time of job interviews, putting yourself out there and looking for the right fit. The world truly does need your voice, so go out there into your interviews and speak to inspire. Thanks for listening. This has been She Speaks to Inspire with Julia Kraft, your authentic expression mentor and public speaking coach. I'm so glad you joined me, and I hope you got so much out of this episode. If you want to learn more about Speak to Inspire training programs and get inspired, head over to speaktoinspire.com or follow us on Instagram at She Speaks to Inspire. Never forget, the world needs your voice, and it's time for you to speak to inspire. See you in the next episode.